Hi, good morning everybody. Nicholas Teo here from CMC Markets in Singapore. Today, the 19th of August. Just off the bat, this morning we had strong numbers from Japan in terms of trade numbers. Exports grew by 7.6%. This versus a forecast of 5.5%. Although this is a slight downtick from the previous read of 9.5%, nonetheless, a number like this should ordinarily move the needle for the yen or the dollar yen. In this case, the dollar yen has stayed reasonably flat, strengthening or firming slightly or ever so slightly on the back of this number. Let's pull up the chart here. We see the dollar yen trading around 125, 124, 125 for actually quite some time, except for this blip that we saw because of the Japanese or rather because of the Chinese market crash actually. Now this morning you see there's a small little red candle which hardly suggests any move on the needle. I think most of these major US pairs will receive quite a bit of stimulus from tonight's data, which will be released at 2 a.m. local time in Singapore, and this is the minutes for the July Fed meeting, where Mrs. Yellen and her colleagues kept rates unchanged. Now the market is closely watching that sound bites or the different sound bites that may come up from that meeting, which ultimately would suggest a direction for the September meetings, which increasingly looks like a move is most likely to happen then. But essentially, for now, I think there's a bit of a calm on the markets, and even calm on the Chinese markets, which is up a tick, just barely 1%. 1% normally is actually quite a good move for any index, but in view of the 6% haircut that we saw on most of the major indices in China, namely your Shenzhen, and also your CSI 300, this 1% is actually quite a sort of a benign indication. But this is only for the morning session. As we pull out yesterday's chart on the A50 August contracts, which are still the more actively traded contracts among the series that are out down there, let me pull the 15-minute chart. The 15-minute chart down here, you can see, to blow this up a little bit, the selling happened actually at this point in time, which is in the afternoon or around 1 p.m. After the market reopens for afternoon trade. This is actually a rather common characteristic of the Chinese index. Ordinarily, an afternoon Asian market sell down suggests the influence of European traders. UK European traders who have just come onto the wire. Now I'm not sure if this is a suggestion of what happened yesterday, but clearly the lack of absence, or rather the lack of news or the lack of trigger events that could have led to this sell down suggests that there were just fund flows getting out, and these are fund flows coming from perhaps overseas foreign traders, and in this case pointing very easily to the European boys. Now you can see that for the rest of the day, the trading day yesterday, everything remains sort of flat. Again, if I just to bring back the daily chart for this, excuse me. I mean, you're seeing that again, the index is coming down to retest sort of lows. This low down here is indicated at 9,800, for example, is the ultimate low that when the market was sold down, where indications or bearish indications were at its most intense, is still at a buffer from these current levels of around 10,500 or so. The first support level is at this 10,400, which we breached momentarily before actually finding or regaining that sort of level. I think all eyes are still closely following the situation because the state of unwind and margin unwind still happens, and clearly the big move, the big volatile move we saw yesterday, is every reason for traders to actually, who are not involved, to maybe stay away from that. Happy to become a spectator down there. Singapore stocks have opened up reasonably well. They've turned around. They opened down a bit softer, but now they're turning around. The Singapore Free Index is up just a touch at 0.14%. But if you look at the biggest losers this morning has been more or less, if you look at that, if there's any sort of a flavor, it would be definitely your oil and gas plays. VAD, for example, is down 20%. Elzion has nicely turned around. It was definitely one of the more actives on the negative side. Then you get Sembcorp, Keppel Corp. Whether we will see a midday or intraday turnaround remains to be seen. But Elzion, this move by Elzion of a reversal from this morning could suggest that it could lead the pack. But clearly things are still at the still pretty uncertain at the opening. Oil, okay, saw a little bit of a bounce, and with that has maybe given a little bit of flavor down there. But essentially things are generally quite quiet, and I think bigger numbers would be able to move the markets later on. Thank you very much.